Coronation Street has scrapped its early episode release today, May 1st, as fans eagerly await the resolution of this week's big murder mystery. The ITV soap has been teasing fans for months after announcing that Carl Webster, Jodie Ramsey, Maggie Driscoll, Megan Walsh and Theo Silverton are all in danger of being killed off. Corey usually uploads new episodes to ITVX and YouTube each morning at 7 a.m., even when there are big storyline twists on the way. However, the online premiere has been scrapped for Friday's episode so that everyone discovers the identity of the murdered character together at the same time. The all-important episode will air at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 tonight as the answer is finally revealed. Show bosses first started teasing this storyline in February, when a flash-forward scene showed Betsy Swain being interviewed by police after finding a body on Carla and Lisa's wedding day. This week's episodes have focused on the fatal five, who are in danger, exploring the different possible suspects and motives behind their potential deaths. In tonight's episode, all of the stories finally come together. Todd Grimshaw becomes embroiled in a cat-and-mouse game with dangerous Theo, and Summer Spellman finds herself caught in the crossfire with terrifying consequences. Meanwhile, a web of lies begins to unravel for Megan as a shocking secret comes to light. Sarah Platt responds to a brutal home invasion, too, while Ronnie Bailey takes matters into his own hands on desolate ground after rescuing Carl at the garage. A Coronation Street statement teased, with a trail of blood leaving several lives hanging in the balance, and a discovery made by Betsy that will change the street forever, who didn't make it out alive. Producer Kate Brooks recently discussed the future for the four who managed to survive the week. Going forward, there's so many consequences for each individual character. Then we've also got the who did it element, that big story going forward, as well as unpacking what's going on with all those other characters. It's very complex but satisfying and enjoyable as well. The news had spread across Weatherfield before the morning papers even hit the corner shop. Something big was coming to an end. Not just another storyline twist, not just another dramatic confession or late-night confrontation outside the Rovers' return in. This time, it was different. The mystery death plot that had gripped the cobbles for weeks was reaching its conclusion, and with it, ITV made a decision that sent shockwaves through fans online. The early release episodes on ITVX and YouTube were being pulled. No more midnight drops. No more spoilers floating around hours before broadcast. From now on, viewers would have to wait for the traditional televised airing. For some, it felt like the end of an era. For others, it felt like justice, for a story that deserved to be experienced together, in real time, as one nation. But beneath the broadcasting decision, something darker was unfolding in Weatherfield. Because the mystery death wasn't just a plot twist anymore, it was becoming a reckoning. The streets that couldn't stay silent. On Coronation Street, life rarely paused. Even tragedy had a strange way of blending into the rhythm of the cobbles, morning deliveries, gossip at the cafe, the familiar creak of the Rovers' doors. But ever since the body was discovered behind the ginnel, everything had changed. People stopped trusting their neighbors. Eyes lingered too long across the street. And every conversation ended with the same whispered question. Who did it? The victim's identity had been revealed days earlier, but the circumstances surrounding their death remained a tangled web of secrets, lies, and half-truths. Every resident seemed to know something, but no one knew enough. Or so they claimed. ITV's bold move. Behind the scenes, ITV executives were dealing with a very different kind of pressure. The mystery death storyline had become one of the most talked about arcs in recent years. Social media exploded every time a new clue dropped early on ITVX or appeared unexpectedly on YouTube. Clips were dissected frame by frame. Fan theories multiplied faster than official spoilers could be controlled. And while the early release strategy had boosted streaming numbers, it had also taken away something essential, the shared suspense of live viewing. So the decision came quietly, but firmly. No more early releases. From now on, episodes would air only on broadcast television first, preserving the mystery for everyone at once. The reaction was immediate. Some fans were furious, accusing the network of going backwards. Others celebrated, saying the suspense had finally been restored. But in Weatherfield, nobody cared about streaming schedules. They cared about survival. Because someone among them was still lying. Kit closes in. Detective Kit Green had seen enough lies to last a lifetime. He stood outside the precinct, rain cutting across the streetlights, reviewing the case notes one more time. Every statement contradicted the last. Every alibi had a crack in it. And every suspect had something to hide. What made this case different wasn't the crime itself, it was how personal it had become. The victim hadn't been a stranger. They had been part of the community. A familiar face at the pub. A voice in everyday arguments. A presence that had quietly woven itself into the fabric of the street. And someone had erased them. Kit shut the file. "I've got you," he muttered under his breath. "One of you is about to fall." The suspects fracture. At the Rover's return, tension finally boiled over. Glasses were set down too hard. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. And for the first time in weeks, the pub didn't feel like a refuge, it felt like a pressure cooker. Carla Connor stood near the bar, arms folded, eyes sharp. She had always been perceptive, but now she was dangerous in her clarity. Every glance she made felt like an accusation. Across the room, Lisa Swain avoided eye contact, her silence louder than any confession. She had been close to the victim in ways she refused to explain. Was Ryan, pacing near the stairs, muttering about missing pieces and someone who shouldn't be trusted. And in the corner, Theo sat alone, watching, listening, calculating. Everyone had a version of the truth. None of them matched. The episode that changed everything. The final episode before the broadcast-only shift was filmed like a storm. Rain. Darkness. Flickering streetlights. A confrontation outside the factory that had been waiting to happen since the first clue was dropped. Kit arrived first. Then Carla. Then Lisa. Then, one by one, the rest of the suspects drifted into the scene like ghosts pulled by inevitability. The truth was close now. Everyone could feel it. Kit opened the file. "One of you was with them that night," he said. "One of you lied about where you were. And one of you never thought you'd get caught." Silence. A siren in the distance. Then Carla stepped forward. "You're wasting time," she snapped. "We all know this isn't about proof anymore. It's about who panicked first." Lisa flinched. Ryan shook his head. Theo smiled faintly. And that was when Kit said it, the line that broke everything open. "I know who was at the ginnel." The world seemed to stop. Even the rain felt quieter. The truth begins to surface. What followed wasn't a confession in the traditional sense. It wasn't neat or clean or dramatic in the way soap fans expect. It was messy. Emotional. Human. Pieces of the night unfolded in fragments, a confrontation gone wrong, a secret exposed at the worst possible moment, fear escalating into something irreversible. No one had planned it. But someone had finished it. And that was the difference. As the story reached its final revelation, it wasn't just about guilt anymore. It was about consequence. About how quickly ordinary lives could spiral into irreversible damage. And about how every lie told in Weatherfield eventually finds its way back to the cobbles. ITV pulls the plug on early chaos. As the episode aired on television, ITV confirmed what fans had already begun to suspect. The early release model for this storyline was being discontinued immediately. No more ITVX early drops for major arcs of this scale. No more YouTube uploads hours before broadcast. The reasoning was simple: preserve the mystery, restore the shared experience, and stop the fragmentation of spoilers online. a spokesperson stated. This decision ensures that audiences experience major Coronation Street storylines together, as originally intended. And just like that, the digital loophole closed. The aftermath in Weatherfield. Back in the world of Coronation Street, the mystery death plot had finally concluded, but the aftermath lingered. Arrests were made. Relationships shattered. Trust collapsed in places it would never fully recover. And yet, life continued. It always did. At the cafe, Roy quietly wiped down tables as if nothing had happened. At the corner shop, gossip had already moved on to something new. And at the Rovers, the doors still creaked open and shut, as they always had. But something had changed. The street felt quieter. Heavier. Like it had finally exhaled after holding its breath for too long. Final reflection. For fans, the storyline marked more than just another dramatic chapter in Coronation Street. It became a reminder of why they watched in the first place. Not just for shocks. Not just for twists. But for the feeling that somewhere, in a fictional street full of ordinary people, the smallest secrets could still explode into life-changing consequences. And as ITV stepped back from early releases, one thing became clear. Some mysteries are stronger when everyone waits together. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Crown ST.